This next video is going to be predominantly focused on footwork, and I'm going to basically intertwine my American Kempo training with some of my Gracie Jiu-Jitsu training and show you similarities and or differences and where they agree and maybe where they disagree. Okay, this is going to challenge your mind a little bit, maybe your way of thinking. So Scott, if we are in let's say a fighting position, in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, when we advance, we always use our front foot first to make sure that we maintain base. So I would go, what we would call in Kempo, a step drag. If we retreat, we always use our back foot first, because if I did this, a drag step, fine against a striker, feet anywhere remotely close against someone with a submission wrestling or a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, you could be on your back like that. So moving back, we always use our back foot first. And our head stays at the same level. Forward, front foot. Going back, retreating, back foot. And make sure we maintain base. So, of course, in Kempo, our shuffles are our push drag, where we eliminate the and then. We have a step drag, where we step and then drag. And we have a drag step, where we drag and then step. But the drag step is particularly risky if you get your feet anywhere remotely close together, and I've seen people even have their feet almost exactly together, against anyone with a jiu-jitsu background on your back. And I know some of you will say, it's okay, I'll use my Kempo on the ground. Yeah, easier said than done. Okay, so what we're gonna do for a drill, I'm gonna have Scott represent the bad guy first, and I'm gonna represent the good guy. We're gonna be 2 arm lengths away, okay? So our hands are up, we call that green zone. If you come forward, Scott, and we're this close, we call this red zone. So sometimes, I don't know, at a martial arts school where you're shown, hang in the pocket and throw some bombs, I want to toughen you guys up. In Jiu-Jitsu, they would say that is the worst strategy ever, because one of those shots in real will knock you out. So we minimize our time in the red zone, we're safe in the green, we're not safe in the red, and we're safe in the green when I'm close to them and I lock them up. So for this particular drill, Scott represents the bad guy, which means when he advances, he moves his front foot first, doing a step drag, and I use my back foot first as I retreat with a step drag. We make sure we're 2 arm lengths away. We go 1, 2, and 3. So I'm learning how to keep and control the distance. I represent the good guy, Scott represents the bad guy. We test it out, we're good. He goes at me, I go at him. Now, in real, we can do that drill. The bad guy is going to probably try to want to hit you, which is why I'm a big advocate. Go to gracieuniversity.com. Why I'm a big advocate of teaching realistic attacks. Most people don't go jab, cross, hook, elbow like an MMA fighter. They like to throw the wild haymaker. So what we're going to do for this particular drill is I'm going to advance towards him and actually clinch him up. So he has his left foot forward. So Scott represents the bad guy. We'll go really slow. We go 1, 2, pause. On 3, he's getting his arm ready. As he goes to throw the punch, I move in and I clinch him. Okay, so what I did is I protected my face. I didn't bring my head down, and I certainly didn't do this. I did clutching feathers with both hands. So my head was protected, and as that hook punch came, I was protected. My forearms hit his chest, and I clinched him up. Okay, so if we try this again, we would go 1, 2, as he punches, oh, there it is, and I lock him up. Now in real, I'll be gentle because we don't have mats. I can do a little setup step, and take him to the ground, and mount him. And without mats, if he's not trained, the back of his head probably hits the cement for the end of the fight, potentially a concussion. Now, to give a Kempo flavor, because Scott is winding up, I can take that same footwork drill and apply a technique that we know. Let's call it 5 swords. Okay, so maybe move a little this way. So go really slow on the first one. 1, 2, now watch them line up. So I'm right in position to do a classic 5 swords. Get a better angle for that one. So we're in this position, we'll go slow. 1, 2, now watch. I'm right in the position to be able to launch that. Let's slow it down one more time so they can see it all. So I use the same Gracie Jiu-Jitsu footwork pattern. As we wound up, look, see, and I finished with a classic 5 swords, and then Scott could do it to me. And we could go back and forth and do this drill and learn those entries versus practicing 5 swords where he's standing like Mr. Miyagi and I go ready, set, go. And we lose that realism. So one more time. So he comes at me, he comes at me, and I'm out. And that is footwork patterns from Gracie Jiu-Jitsu with an entry into 5 swords. Hope you like it, guys.